Hey guys, this is 97 Lego Maniac. Be sure to check out my other social media accounts and my Patreon. Links are down below. Up next for my anime custom minifigures, I have Boku no Pico. Up next for my anime custom minifigures, I have Re:Zero. Re:Zero is a really awesome show. Not a masterpiece like everyone's been saying, but it's definitely entertaining and stars my personal favorite waifu. Re:Zero is an interesting take on the isekai genre, and I really like how it explores the dark psychological horrors on reliving the same day over and over again. It's like Edge of Tomorrow, but with waifus. Go watch it for yourself since I don't want to spoil it too much. Subaru is definitely the simplest anime figure I've made. Starting with his head, I used a generic male hairpiece and sculpted additional hair details on the front and the back. His head is also fully painted. His torso has a sculpted collar and I painted the rest of the details. For accessories, I made a grocery bag for him using a white Lego rod piece and fabric. Unfortunately, I made it super small, but I don't feel like making another because I want to move on to something else. Emilia isn't my personal favorite character, and I honestly don't get why people want her as their waifu. She doesn't have a character arc, and her main purpose in the show is to be an object the main character has to obtain and achieve. I will admit her character design is gorgeous, but the writing for her is just as significant as an empty wall. Don't get me wrong, she's fine overall. She's super nice and sweet, plus she's voiced by Rin Takahashi who voiced Megumi. But there's another girl who is just as nice and sweet and has a character arc, which we'll get into her later. I used an elf hairpiece of course since she has elf ears in the show. I sculpted additional hair details on the front and the sides as well as sculpted individual petals for the flower on her hair. I also sculpted her hair clip on her left side and the ribbon on the right. Her face is all fully painted. Onto her torso, I used E-tape for her collar and Procreate for a green gem. I used fabric for her chest and E-tape for the rest of her cloak. Onto her arms, I sculpted her long sleeves and painted them. Her skirt is a modified Cape Madness waist cape for the base and I added some additional E-tape on top. Painting Emilia was really tough since I had to repaint white in certain areas, and we all know how tough white paint can be. For a figure whose primarily color is white, this is probably my cleanest paint job yet. Maybe a little too clean, hehe. For accessories, I made a custom minifigure base stand that has her ice powers made with a transparent Lego rod piece, and I glued it onto a transparent wire tubes. I also sculpted Puck, her spirit companion, all out of Procreate and painted. I then glued him onto a tube and onto the Lego stud so I can display him next to Emilia. This base was inspired by Good Smile's Emilia Nendoroid figure, and I thought it would be a good idea to make something like that for Emilia specifically. Many people, including myself, love to make fun of Ram because majority loves Rem more and doesn't give a shit about her, but I think she's a fine character. We just didn't get to see her enough. I only made Ram simply to go with Rem because you just can't have these two separate. I even bought her Nendoroid for that same reason. I used a female bowl cut hairpiece and added some additional sculpted elements, such as the hairbands, ribbons, and her bangs. I then sculpted parts of her torso, such as the white collar on her neck area, shoulder, the black ribbon, the white ribbons on her abdomen, and her bow on the back. I used fabric and wrapped it around the torso as well as used it for the straps on her back. I then used white fabric for her chest. Her skirt is from Cape Madness with some additional details. Her arms, like Emilia, have sculpted sleeves. For accessories, I used these power pieces that Lego made and used it for her wind power. At first I was going to use it for my Thor Ragnarok figures, but I lost interest in making Thor figures, so I just used it for Ram instead. Last but not least, I saved the best for last. Out of all the 79 waifus I have on my list currently, Rem is easily number 1. I mean, who could say no to that face? She's adorable. I will protect her and loot her. Rem is the best girl on my list, and so far my opinion hasn't changed months later. Shout out to my sister for purchasing her Nendoroid for me on Christmas. Rem is pretty much a duplicate of Ram with some minor differences. Obviously her hair color is different and the bangs, ribbon, and hairband are mirrored opposite. One major difference between Rem and her twin sister, and the only difference that matters, is the chest size. Rem has a bigger rack than her older twin sister, and God bless this girl. I cut out a slightly larger version with white fabric and glued it onto the torso. For accessories, I made Morningstar, the name of Rem's weapon. I used a lightsaber hilt and glued a Michael's chain and attached it to a Lego mace. The mace isn't 100% accurate because in the actual show, her mace doesn't have that many spikes, but it's the closest thing I have. That is all, and for future anime figures, I have seen on from Sword Art Online, ready to be showcased. For future anime customs, I am planning on making recreators, which will be my next ambitious project after The Dark Knight, and it will probably take me another year to complete. I have a couple more anime figures that I really want to make and could be possible, such as One Punch Man, My Hero Academia, Code Geass, Steins Gate, Spice and Wolf, Puella Magi Madoka Magica, and more. I can't guarantee that they will all happen, but those are the ones I am considering, so we'll just have to see. I have Avengers Infinity War custom minifigures currently in the works, and others such as Halo, which is still a work in progress. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Now watch Boku no Pico.